What if Rodri joins Real Madrid?
Rodri is pushing to go back to Real Madrid.
No, seriously, what actually happens? Because this isn't just another superstar transfer. This is the best holding midfielder in world football, joining the biggest club in the world. The player who just controlled an entire World Cup could suddenly be controlling Madrid's midfield every single week. So, why did Florentino Pérez reject the idea at first, and what's changed since?
He went from not even wanting Rodri, shutting down the Rodri news, to completely switching it around, and now considering Rodri.
Why is José Mourinho now the key figure behind the deal?
He's the reason why this deal is happening. He's the reason why this is even working on. He's the reason why this could potentially work out. And that's Mr. José Mourinho.
And if Manchester City lose the one player they've never truly been able to replace, does their dynasty collapse overnight? Because if this transfer happens, football isn't ready. Rodri's 30 years old. He's got 1 year left on his City contract, and that puts Manchester City in a spot where they don't really hold the cards anymore.
The thing is right now, the club dilemma when it comes to Rodri, because right now what is happening with Rodri? Breaking. Rodri keeps rejecting Manchester City's renewal offer. The player wants to sign for Real Madrid, according to Ramon Alvarez.
If they don't sell him this summer, they risk losing him for nothing next year as a free transfer.
Rodri's going to be a free transfer a year from now, by the way, unless he decides to change his mind.
That's not a great position for a club to negotiate from, and everybody involved knows it. Here's the part that makes this feel like fate for Real Madrid fans. Rodri was born in Madrid. He came up through academy systems in the city before Atletico Madrid turned him into a starter. And then Pep Guardiola turned him into one of the best midfielders alive at Manchester City. Every step of his career has circled back toward home, and now the pieces are lining up again.
When you look at Rodri, right, he's Madrid born. He was in Atleti's academy. He ended up at Real, but then he went back to Athletic. He's Madrid born and raised, came through Madrid academy systems, young academy systems, Atletis. So he's going back home. It's a bit of a homecoming for him.
Pep's exit from City changes everything here too. The project Guardiola built over nearly a decade is done, and what replaces it right now is uncertainty. New manager, new structure, no guarantees. For a 30-year-old who's already won every trophy English football has to offer, sitting around and waiting to see how a rebuild goes isn't exactly appealing.
He's accomplished football. He's accomplished football. Manchester City, you know, there's some changes happening there. Pep Guardiola leaves, and it becomes a little bit less interesting for maybe a player like Rodri. And I think really at this point, ultimately, it's a really good time in his career to go try something like a Real Madrid.
Then the World Cup happened, and it made the decision look even more obvious. Rodri destroyed midfield after midfield. Spain conceded 1 goal in the whole tournament, and he controlled every single knockout game from in front of the back line, picking apart teams that were supposed to give Spain problems.
We've seen Rodri's stats there. They've been fantastic. He was instrumental to the way Spain play. He dictates a tempo of games. He manages the players around him. You know, even other players and coaches said that he was the one that dictates the press, when they should press and when not to.
Florentino Pérez wasn't sold at first though. He tends to prefer younger profiles, guys he can build around for a decade, not a 30-year-old already past his prime years by most standards.
The biggest issue for Real Madrid, apparently, Florentino Pérez does not rate this guy. Now, I hear where he's coming from, because Rodri is a 30-year-old who has had an ACL, and it's not even only just the ACL last season. He got hurt again.
There were also whispers about ego, about a rivalry with Riquelme over who gets credit for pulling off this kind of transfer. Pérez didn't want to look like he was chasing someone else's idea.
Riquelme wanted Rodri. He made it very clear. He came out and said, Rodri is my statement signing. Rodri, I have an agreement with Rodri. Rodri wants to join because of me. I have an agreement with Rodri. If I become the Real Madrid president, Rodri's coming. And because of that, Pérez has been looking and said, you know what, hell no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not going after my man's target.
But then, Pérez watched Rodri go through the World Cup, dismantling the best attacks on the planet, one by one. And that resistance started to soften.
Maybe he watched Rodri at this World Cup, and maybe he was like a lot of us being like, yo, you know, even end of last season with Man City, maybe a lot of us were like, wow, we were wrong. Maybe that's what Perez was doing, the same thing as us at home. Because now the reports are coming out that Perez is very open to signing him.
Personal terms between Rodri and Real Madrid are already lined up.
Rodri has already a full agreement with Real Madrid.
So now the whole thing comes down to one question. What does he actually fix once he's on the pitch? Real Madrid hasn't had a real conductor in midfield since Casemiro. Luka Modric and Toni Kroos all left within a couple of years of each other. That trio used to control games without breaking a sweat, and nobody's filled that gap since. Aurélien Tchouaméni brings energy. Eduardo Camavinga brings athleticism and legs for days, but neither one grabs a match by the throat and slows it down the way a true controller does. Big Champions League nights expose that gap every time. Federico Valverde covers more ground than almost anyone in Europe, and he's a weapon going box to box, but that's the problem.
You had that balance of Casemiro, Modric, Toni Kroos, and I felt like all three of them could defend at a really high level. And, Jude, can he be a box-to-box role? Absolutely. Valverde, Valverde can go out to the right back, but I still always will think Valverde, again, it's always more that box-to-box than Tchouaméni, but Tchouaméni's not going to be doing what Rodri is going to be doing, what Modric is going to be doing, what Casemiro, their abilities to find and pick out players.
Madrid needs someone who stays put, not someone who joins the attack and leaves the back exposed.
Talking about the position that Real Madrid need the most, for me, it's exactly where Rodri plays. The profile, it's exactly Rodri. They need that profile. Since Toni Kroos left, since Modric left, they haven't had someone that gets on the ball and makes things happen. Gets on the ball, dictates the game, calms everyone down, makes everyone play to the same tempo that they are playing on. And that is Rodri.
Rodri does the job nobody else on that roster does well. He wins the ball back cleanly, instead of hacking it away. Then recycles possession so the team never panics under pressure.
One of my favorite stats about him in this tournament was he's the top player in connecting passes under pressure. So however if you have somebody right on your back, or if there's two players converging on you, he was the best player in this tournament of playing out of that situation consistently, and that's what makes him so good.
He sits deep, holds his position, and lets the players in front of him take risks, because he's not going anywhere. That discipline is rare, and it changes how an entire team plays. Look at what happened at the World Cup. Pau Cubarsí and Aymeric Laporte are good defenders on their own, but with Rodri parked in front of them, they looked like two of the best centre-backs on the planet.
Rodri being in front of Cubarsí and even being in front of Laporte, he made those guys look like Chiellini and Maldini. He helped those guys to be the best versions of themselves.
He read danger before it happened and cleaned up mistakes before anyone noticed them. Spain's back line barely got tested in the knockout rounds. And that wasn't just about the defenders, it was about the guys shielding them. Now, picture that in front of Real Madrid's backline, which has looked shaky more nights than fans want to admit. A player like Rodri patches that up instantly.
And more importantly, you're going to take an average back line and make it 10 times better, because now they have someone to pass the ball to, they have someone that's going to cover for them, and they have someone that has the IQ to lead them on the field.
And it does something else too. Vinicius Jr. and Kylian Mbappe stop having to sprint back 60 yards to help out defensively. They stay high, they stay fresh, and they save their legs for the moments that actually matter. Mourinho has never had a problem trusting an older winner over a flashy prospect. He's built entire seasons around experienced players who know exactly what a big match demands, and Rodri fits that mold perfectly. This isn't a gamble on potential, it's a proven performer walking into a system built for guys exactly like him. There's also the Bernardo Silva piece of this. Both players came up under Guardiola. Both understand exactly what it means to never give the ball away and to press as a unit. Put them on the same pitch in white, and Madrid isn't just signing two good players, they're importing a mentality that took years to build somewhere else. This isn't a one-position fix. Once Rodri sits in front of that defense, Valverde can push forward or slide out wide. Bellingham gets freedom to attack without defensive baggage, and the entire structure shifts. One signing rewires how 10 other players do their jobs. Rodri isn't just another name leaving the squad list, he's been the actual engine behind everything City built over the last several seasons, the guy who made Guardiola's whole system function on the pitch. Losing him isn't like losing a squad player, it's like losing the piece that held the entire machine together. The timing made it worse. Pep's gone. The club is already adjusting to life without him. And now, they're staring down the exit of the player who ran that midfield for 7 years straight.
He feels like his time at City is done. His chapter is closed. I mean, he's won everything individually. He's won everything collectively. He's done what he needs to do at Man City. And I think with Pep Guardiola leaving and a little bit of uncertainty around what Man City are going to be this season, I think Rodri is looking at it and thinking, I'm 30, 31, I still want to compete at the highest level.
2 massive losses landing back-to-back doesn't give a rebuild room to breathe. Then there's the fee, and City don't hold much leverage here. With 1 year left on his deal, they're stuck negotiating from a weak spot. Wait too long, and he walks for nothing next summer. Sell now, and they'll likely get somewhere between 70 and 100 million pounds. A fair price, but nowhere near what a player of his level would cost with more contract time left. Elliot Anderson looks promising, and the current squad has talent, but nobody at City right now does what Rodri did on both ends of the pitch.
Whoever Man City replaced Rodri with, I know Elliot Anderson's came into the club, and I'm sure there might be 1 or 2 others that are going to come into the club as well. They ain't touching the levels that Rodri's at. He is the best midfield player in the world.
He broke up attacks before they started, and started attacks of his own with 1 pass. Replacing that kind of two-way influence doesn't happen with 1 signing. This move closes more than a transfer window. It closes a chapter that started when Rodri arrived as a replacement for Fernandinho, and turned it into one of the most important signings in the club's history. Think about the shape of this story. A kid born in Madrid, shaped by academy fields in the city, leaves for Atletico, then England, then wins a World Cup, where his defense barely got touched. Now he's 1 signature away from playing for the club he grew up watching, chasing the 1 trophy that would complete everything. But nothing's signed yet. Mourinho still has to give the final word. City still need a formal offer on the table. And Perez, the same man who hesitated for months, still has to put his name on the deal. Every piece points towards Rodri in white next season. The World Cup performance, the contract situation, the tactical fit, all of it lines up. Whether Perez actually pulls the trigger though, that's the one thing nobody can answer yet.